Okay, so am I saying this right? Are they ghosts? Are they spirits? And what's the accepted term that we should be using here? Souls?
It depends on who you ask, I think, really. For myself, I consider them spirits,
Okay.
loved ones,
Sure.
energy.
Energy, yeah. Okay, so I mean, is there a physical form that's evident with these energies? I mean, is it something that we can see? Is there a light source at times that can be predicted? A heat signature, I think you mentioned earlier. There's some.
And that's kind of part of the fun part of it, right? Because you have different ways of them showing themselves, because you will see them on a level that the rest of us won't see.
Right.
And then there's what we can record, and that's what the rest of us will see, right?
So what's the big difference then?
Well, I think the difference is that for myself, when sometimes I'll see them within the physical, when I am channeling, I really like they come really close to me, so I can give their personality and validation and information, and that may include names, how they passed, but I'll see the image of them too, so I see the image within my mind. So I'm able to relate to my client, this is what they look like. This is what they're telling me, and this is how they've passed. Perhaps I'll get a name or some letters and ages when they've passed. So that's how I receive the information, and what I find, it's very healing for the individual or for the group or the family receiving that kind of information at that time.
I imagine a lot of these experiences have gone into your book here, and I want to touch on this. It's called The Soul's Journey.
A Soul's Journey, yeah.
How did the idea come up for the book? How long have you been at the book? What's in that book?
I started the book about 7 years ago, and really I made a decision that all the things I was going through in my life had to be out there, because there is a reason why I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing. And I go on the premises of the level about what I've experienced and what I do is here to help people. And whether it heals them, whether it gives them a validation that there's more to our life and there is something else beyond this, that gives me a clarification that what I'm doing is helping somebody. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to write this book and tell people about my experiences, my situations, my own healing, in hopes that when they read this, they'll realize they're not alone. There is more to this life, and I've experienced things. Perhaps maybe their loved ones have been trying to connect with them too. And, I try to kind of make it that, whether you call them ghost spirits or the afterlife, they're really not that scary. They can seem scary, right, when people don't know what they're dealing with.
You're nodding your head. You agree, like people shouldn't be scared.
It's, the way I put it is the fact that there's different types, because you have regular spirit entities, which are just your disembodied energies that are free-form floating, kind of existing. Then you have your ones that are a little bit almost, I'd say, stronger, that can actually give themselves a physical form, can make a different type of communication and contact.
That sounds spooky, just for the record. That sounds a little spooky.
That can be spooky. One of the instances that we came across, now this is a friend of mine, Rob, who was part of CAPI before. We were actually out in Inglewood, and it was a funny situation because we were just out, because the area has been known for that kind of activity. So we were just walking around doing our thing, again, playing with our little gadgets, doing our recordings, doing our EMF readings, and something caught my eye. Rob was out of my sight, so I couldn't see him, so I'm here, he's here, and we couldn't see each other, kind of a thing, because we're a big grassy area and it was dark. So I catch this, now it is dark, but I'm seeing indirectly in front of me is this free-form man. It looks like a man standing with his hands on his hips, but he's darker than the dark. And I'm looking directly at him. You'd think, okay, well, that must be a person. That's how real it looked, except you couldn't see anything but dark. He had no physical features of a person. So I start moving towards this thing really quick, because I'm like, well, that's not normal. I start going towards it, and I'm moving quite quickly. And then when I get up to it, I'm probably, I would say, from where I am to you, that's how close I got. And I could see that it was this fluctuating cloudy mass that's directly in front of my face. The reason why I believe this stuff is because I've seen it for myself. And then all of a sudden I look back and Rob's right there and he's like, did you just see? Because we both saw the same thing.
I gotta say, that's creepy.
And then I'm close enough to see it, and then it's gone, just dissipates just like right in front of our face.
So knowing what you know, what you believe, and I mean, you're staunch believers, you live in your lives for some time now with knowing what you've seen. Can you live a normal life? Are things sometimes a little bit trying? Is there any challenges?
For myself, I've become so used to it. It's just there. I have to actually catch myself, because I can go into people's homes that I know and I'll see somebody come through, or I'll see this massive blob of something.
You have
and
to
I'll,
stay quiet until you're like, nope.
well, I
nope,
kind of
nope.
just look at it for a moment, and then I'm like, I'll kind
Whatever.
of keep going. And now I'm trying to like say something right away, right? But I don't want to put fear into some people. So
Right,
unless I'm
right.
actually doing a house clearing or doing a reading, I will definitely open myself up and say, hey, this is what we're experiencing. But it becomes, for me, it just feels such a normal way of being that it's just, they're there, they pop in. I mean, I can be at home reading a book and I've got souls coming through my room because it's quiet for me and they're around.
You can't blame them.
and-
You're so personable, though. Can you really blame them? Right?
There you go, right?
We're going
So-
to step to a quick break. Pardon me.
Yeah.
Checking with the Rant Pack finally, folks. Stay with us.
Thanks.
Ghosts, aliens, and Bigfoot. Get to do a fun topic today for once, so that's pretty cool. I don't believe in ghosts. When you're dead, you're dead. You're worm food, you're in the ground. Go back to nature. Don't bother getting cremated. Don't bother getting embalmed. Come back for the dirt from whence you came. I think Bigfoot is stupid. There'd be some sort of scientific evidence. There's not a government team all over the planet hiding Bigfoot bones and Bigfoot poop and Bigfoot footprints. It's ridiculous. Aliens, however, is a completely different topic. I do believe that aliens do exist. Do they exist in the context of TV and movies? Probably not. I think that we just don't have the concept of what aliens could be. Space is really, 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 really big. So are we the only intelligent life form out there? I doubt it. Are we the first intelligent life form out there? Could be. Who knows? But the universe is awfully, awfully old for us to be the only intelligent species, and I think it's awfully ignorant of us to think so.
Okay, so can anybody communicate with ghosts, spirits, souls? Can I open my mind to a degree where I too will be able to see and communicate as a medium, or is that just a gift?
I believe that we can all communicate with our loved ones who have crossed over.
Yeah.
Our loved ones are always trying to communicate to us all the time. And really, it's communication of love. We have this ability to connect with energy, right? So whether it's the psychic energy that's coming through, that people are picking certain things up, yes, I think everybody has that ability. Do I think that everybody has the ability to do strong communication with the afterlife and those kinds of things? I don't necessarily think so. I think that takes a certain kind of a person or an ability or strength to be able to live that life and to be able to do that work. But we can definitely, all of us can connect with our loved ones in heaven.
Cool, cool.
And I think
Yeah.
it's always, when it comes to that kind of thing, it's because it's a level of opening yourself up,
Yeah.
which the problem with a lot of that is, and then you get into more of the bad toys like the Ouija boards and stuff.
Yes.
People open themselves up not knowing what they're doing.
See, and I'm curious
Yeah.
what Ouija boards. Legitimate? Nonsense? What's
I
your,
have a
what's your
story
consensus?
here.
Oh, do you?
Legitimate.
Yes.
I think it's an absolutely, because it's not that the board itself is doing it. It's
Okay.
a person, like you were saying.
Yeah.
It's we all have the ability to open up to energies. Therefore, that is your conduit.
Yeah.
That is your portal to open yourself up to that energy. If you focus on one thing,
Yeah.
the planchette of the board, for example, all of a sudden you're letting things in, but you don't control, unless someone like yourself who's experienced knows what they're
Yeah.
doing. You don't know what you're asking to come in. You might think it's someone you care about or someone you love, but now all of a sudden it's something you really don't want, and you're saying, "Hey, come on in," and then next thing you know, it's like stepping on
hanging
gum.
around.
It can stick to you, right?
Yeah, and that's very true. I mean, they will hang around. So you got to know what you're doing. And I think that's kind of, there's a lot of issues with that because
Yeah.
people kind of like, let's get into some fun stuff or doing whatever, but they don't really realize the dangers. That
And
are involved
Dangerous,
in
real
it.
dangerous.
It is danger.
Really?
It is, because it can make you sick.
Hasbro markets
Yeah.
a toy of a Ouija board to 8-year-olds.
Yeah.
Right, like that's
Yeah.
that's how
Yeah,
people
that's
are
problematic, clearly.
they're
Would
not taken
you-
seriously.
Yeah, and would you agree that people who've got a lot of dark energy around them or have called dark energy and have a tendency to not feel well?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's also like what they generally say, happy people attract happy people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not happy people attract more. Misery loves company, right? Well, if your energy is
Sure enough, sure.
miserable,
Sure.
miserable energy will find you.
So these energies, I mean, I heard you, of course, refer to them as the afterlife.
Yeah.
VJ, is there any potential these are just, I guess, beings in a fourth dimension that we can't necessarily see? That's my little personal theory. If the things are real, is there any potential for that?
I absolutely love that theory.
Yeah?
Because of the fact that I think, yes, myself, that it could be now. I'm not ever going to discount that paranormal energies are just the afterlife itself, but
Yeah.
I also am open to the fact that there's another
Dimension.
plane, right? Because there could be that potential. it's already scientifically proven that there is a multiple of dimensions. If one dimension can communicate to another, it won't be in the same form as we can perceive it. Therefore, what if it is showing up as a shadow person, because that's what they know we can see and relate. Therefore, yes, I think.
And I think it's fascinating because you open up this whole different realm of discussion. I mean, this could be us in the future. This could be some sort of time travel mechanism. Could be species from beyond the galaxy type thing. I mean,
it's that theory that if something can move faster than the speed of light, it then can actually appear to be moving backwards. And if you aim, I believe the method was the tachyon pulse, which is a scientifically proven.
You just blew me away with the tachyon pulse.
Well, that's the tachyon pulse is actually a scientifically proven method.
Okay.
If you aim a tachyon pulse, if you can, they can calculate specific points in time. Aim a tachyon pulse at a point in time. Which moves faster than the point of light, you can actually beam a message into that pulse. Because what is a message other than energy being put into a pulse of tachyon, which is energy.
Cool.
Right? Yeah, but now are we paranormal or are we sci-fi?
See? And then there's the meld, right?
Yeah.
Pets. There's a common belief, some people will tell you, man, my dog was going crazy. Rover must have seen a ghost. Is that kind of a known, I guess, fact amongst the community that pets are fine-tuned to see what we can't see?
Innocence.
Yes. And so are children.
Yeah, innocence.
Yeah, they are open. They don't
jaded.
have those blocks that we have of thinking fearful thoughts or it's not real. And they definitely will see spirit.
It could be just me personally, but I always look at, you look at animals and you look at babies. Look into the eyes of all of them. Animals all their life, but children until they hit that point where they start getting that jadedness, but their eyes have a different look.
It's that wonder, isn't it?
It's it's a wonder. They have a different look, where an animal keeps it all their life, whereas a child will eventually grow out of it. But they have that look, and that look, I think, is that openness, which that's why they see it.
Well, I have a dog, and he has to go to a daycare.
Okay.
Because I cannot have him in a room when I'm doing the reading.
nuts.
He does. And actually, I was, I was in front of a lady doing a reading, and he got off the chair and sat in the middle of the room, right where the spirit had come through, and sat there and barked.
So you get nothing done, obviously. Yes.
So it was like, you got to go to daycare. But it was like she even knew, she could see it too. That is validation. So sometimes dogs have a tendency to kind of look around and they're looking at things. They're probably noticing energy, spirit, maneuvering through.
Real quick, we're almost out of time. What is the most haunted site in Calgary?
I would say right now the most haunted site is probably the Dean House. The most well-known.
The one, and that's also fairly widespread knowledge. Interesting.
Yeah, that's probably the big one. That's a big boy.
Guys, thanks very much for taking the time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Folks, that is all the time we have for tonight. Hope you enjoyed the show. As always, we're available on Facebook. You can get at us on Twitter. Next week, we're shifting gears big time. We've got President of the Calgary Flames, Ken King, will be here. Until then, take care.